Alright, what did we discuss in the last class? Where did we end?
We have to start with the digestive system, the alimentary canal.
Elementary canal. Okay. Alright, let's start from there then. And the others will join in the meanwhile. Okay, we were here. Okay, alright. Right. So, elementary canal. Now, as you can see, according to the diagram, it's a long tube that is basically running from your mouth to your anus. Right? You agree? Right? Alright, so it
Yes, yes.
is. Okay, so it is a long tube. It is a long tube. Sorry. And from the mouth to the anus. Okay, and obviously the wall of the alimentary canal basically contains certain muscles which contract and relax to make the food along, right? And these muscular contractions are called your peristalsis. So your muscular contractions are called your peristalsis. And so basically it's also called your wave-like contraction. Alright. So for food to slide very easily through your alimentary canal, it is lubricated with mucus. That is very important. Mucus lubricates the food. And which cells produce mucus?
Ciliated cells.
Produce mucus.
Yeah, it produces
No.
mucus. Wait, it moves the mucus.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Goblet cells. Okay.
Oh yeah, goblet cells.
So mucus is made in goblet cells. Is made by goblet cells, which are found in the lining of your alimentary canal. Okay, so we start off with the mouth. Firstly, you have mouth. Okay, so food is ingested through the mouth. Ingestion is what taking food and drink through your mouth. So food is taken in ingested through the mouth. Teeth then bite or grind the food into smaller pieces. That basically increases its surface area. Tongue moistens the food with saliva and forms it into a bolus that can be swallowed. So, very important are your salivary glands that produce saliva. Secrete saliva. Saliva is basically a mixture of water, mucus, and salivary amylase. Very important. And salivary amylase. Okay. So, bolus then slides down the esophagus. Okay. Bolus is that, ball of food. Right. So, now second you have is your esophagus. Okay. Esophagus is basically a tube behind the trachea. If you can see the diagram, this is your trachea, this, and this is your esophagus. This is your epiglottis. Okay, that basically covers your trachea while you are eating so that your bolus goes directly into your esophagus. And when you're speaking, obviously the flap goes up. That's why it's said not to speak while you're eating. Otherwise, the food can get dislodged into your trachea as well. All right. So esophagus is a tube behind the trachea. Okay, so alright, so there is basically a hole in the center of the esophagus down which the food can pass, and that is called your lumen as well. Okay, and they haven't shown it here. Okay, anyways, okay. So now it will go and enter your stomach here. There's basically sphincter as well before that. Okay. Okay. Now we have the stomach, main organ. Stomach is also important. So stomach basically has strong muscular walls which contract and relax to mix the food with enzymes and mucus. Okay. Mix the food with enzyme and mucus. Now, in stomach, we usually think that because of enzymes, chemical digestion will take place. But this process or this is basically mechanical digestion, and this is basically called churning. Okay, so churning of food is basically a mechanical. It's basically mechanical digestion, a physical digestion. This process is basically churning. Okay, physical or mechanical digestion. Okay.
This churning is the contraction relaxation of the muscular walls.
Yeah, and because of that, there is movement of food. Okay, because when something is contracting and relaxing, obviously the content inside inside it will move as well, right? So that basically movement of food inside your stomach because of the contraction relaxation of the muscular walls is churning. Okay. But they've asked in some papers that churning physical or chemical. Does churning come under your physical digestion or mechanical digestion? All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. It also contains goblet cells that secrete mucus. Okay, it also contains cells that produces protease. Okay, basically, and protease is your enzyme for proteins, but specific enzyme is pepsin. Okay, you can say protease, pepsin, and HCl are produced here as well. Itself provides acidic conditions. So acidic conditions and a pH of 2, which kills all the bacteria. And provides optimum condition for pepsin as well. Okay, then after a few hours of holding food in the stomach, sphincter opens and partly digested food moves into your duodenum. So duodenum is the first part of small intestine. So we're talking about small intestine. Okay. Small intestine has three parts: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Okay, duodenum is the first part. Jejunum is not important in your syllabus. Uh, jejunum, yeah, it's not important. Ileum is important. Why? Because it's the place where absorption takes place. All right. Now let's talk about small intestine. Okay, so it is the part of the alimentary canal between the stomach and the colon. Colon is the first part of a large intestine. All right. Okay. The first part of small intestine is duodenum. Last part is ileum. I told you. Is duodenum. The last part is okay. The point is that pancreas also pours its secretions in the duodenum. So talk about pancreas. Pancreas is a cream-colored gland. Okay. That produces pancreatic juice or pancreatic fluid. I mean, juice sounds weird, but it's called pancreatic juice or pancreatic fluid, and is transported through your pancreatic duct from the pancreas into the duodenum via the pancreatic duct into the duodenum. Okay. It contains many different enzymes, so chemical digestion continues in the duodenum. It contains many different enzymes. So chemical digestion Chemical digestion continues here. And ileum is where all dietary nutrients are absorbed into the blood. Then I have large intestine. Large intestine basically contains, according to our syllabus as of now, it contains colon and rectum. Okay. Some people also include, some places also cecum is also included, but as of now, you can remember that it's only made up of colon and rectum. Okay. So final part of your alimentary canal. I mean, we take it in anus, but okay, fine. All right. So it's made up of colon and rectum. So colon basically absorbs much of the water. Much of the water. That remains in the food. Rectum stores undigested food as feces, which is ingested from the anus. But is this clear, everyone? Any questions?
No.
All right, great. Quickly note this down. They will discuss about pancreas and liver, and then we're going to talk about the types of digestion: mechanical, physical, chemical. Quickly note this down. Let me know when to scroll down as well.
Miss, in the
Yes.
stomach, we have
Mhm.
physical digestion and chemical as well, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and in the small intestine, because of the pancreatic juice, we have only chemical digestion.
Yes.
Okay.
But is everyone done? Can I scroll down?
I'm done.
Rest of you, Ibrahim, Umar, Ayla, Ahmed, Abdul Basit. The Basit, you were 20 minutes late. Why were you late?
No reason.
And Ahmed, I don't have your test. Worksheets are separate, tests is separate. Okay, worksheet is weekly. Okay, tests are twice a month. The time, see, worksheets, I think it's in a class, right? So I think Miss Maria has posted the timings, right? Let me check 1 second. IG Advance. And I think it's at 9 p.m. Pakistan time, according to what Miss Maria has posted. Okay, all right. Okay, guys, done? Quickly, come on.
Yes, done.
Okay, rest of you? Okay, great. So let's move on. Then now let's talk about pancreas and liver. So we have talked about pancreas. Let's talk about liver. Point is that these two organs are not involved in your alimentary canal because they're not, in the straight tube. But these are very important. Why? Because secretions basically are used in your digestion. All right. Okay, so we are talking about pancreas and liver in detail now. Basically, pancreas is done. Now we're talking about liver. All right. Let's just write both of them. Okay. So they are both important organs. As their secretions help in digestion, but they're not included in the alimentary canal. Included in the alimentary canal. Okay, liver basically, in addition to pancreas, liver also secretes a fluid. Okay, that helps with digestion, and that fluid is called bile. Liver secretes bile, and that is stored in the gallbladder. Stored in the gallbladder. Right. So as your food enters the duodenum, your bile flows along the bile duct and is mixed with food. Okay. So bile travels through or enters the duodenum via the bile duct. Okay. Bile is basically a yellowish green alkaline watery liquid. Now, why is it alkaline? Because remember in stomach you are HCl, so you are basically undigested food, semi-digested food, mixture of food is basically acidic in nature. So that's why bile is alkaline. It's basically helping you neutralize that mixture. Okay, bile is a yellowish green alkaline watery liquid. One second, let me just reshare this screen. Okay. Which helps to neutralize the acidic mixture from the stomach. The acidic mixture from the stomach. All right. Bile contains bile salts that help with emulsification. Okay. And what is emulsification? Emulsification is conversion of large insoluble fat globules into small soluble fat droplets. Is this clear? It's conversion of large insoluble fat globules into small soluble fat droplets. Okay. Now, if I talk about digestion, like we have talked about from the beginning of the chapter, there are two types: physical and chemical. Physical, or it's also called chemical, astaghfirullah, mechanical, physical or mechanical digestion. Second is your chemical digestion. If I talk about physical, basically, physical is simple breaking down of large molecules of food into smaller molecules of food, and it's basically done by teeth. But churning of food in the stomach is also a part of your mechanical digestion. Okay, and it does not change the chemical contents of the food. So, breaking down of large molecules of food into smaller pieces. Into smaller pieces. Okay, it is done by teeth and your turning movement in the okay. Teeth are involved and turning movement of stomach. Are these are two examples of your mechanical or physical digestion. Now, if I talk about chemical digestion, okay. In this, large molecules of food are broken down into smaller pieces by your chemical action, and they're catalyzed by enzymes. Okay. Now, in this, they are breaking down uh, large molecules inside food. Okay. like whatever the constituents are, we're breaking them down. Okay, it's not breaking down large molecules of food, we're breaking down large molecules in food. Where is the difference? Into smaller molecules. By chemical action. And they get catalyzed by enzymes. Okay, so these smaller molecules are soluble in water, which makes it easier to absorb them into the cells. Right, let me just copy a table of the enzyme and I'll show you all the enzymes that are important. One second. Okay, yes. So let me share the screen back. Okay. So look at these class of enzymes. First you have carbohydrates. Okay. Carbohydrates basically works on carbohydrates. You have salivary amylase. Okay. This is produced in your mouth. You have pancreatic amylase. Okay, and you have maltase. Now look at them. Salivary amylase obviously is produced in your salivary glands. Okay, it acts in the mouth. It converts starch into maltose. Then pancreatic amylase works on the whatever leftover starch is there. It also converts starch into maltose. It basically comes from the pancreas. That pancreas, that's why it's called pancreatic amylase, and it works in the small intestine, basically duodenum. Maltase is also produced from the wall of intestine. It converts maltose to glucose and it acts in the small intestine, obviously duodenum. Protease obviously works on your proteins. Pepsin, firstly, it's produced in the stomach wall, works in the presence of HCl, acts in the stomach, converts your proteins into peptides. Trypsin also converts proteins into peptides, but this is coming from your pancreas, okay, and it works in the small intestine. Peptidases basically works on peptides and converts them into amino acids. This is also released from the small intestine, works in the small intestine. Lipases, as the name suggests, works on lipids. So example is your lipase enzyme that works on lipids and converts it into glycerol and fatty acids. There's only one of them and it's only produced in one place, that is from your pancreas, and it acts in your small intestine. Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Clear.
Everyone's clear?
Miss, I have one question.
Yes.
Why is bile needed to neutralize the acidic condition of the food?
Because see, a stomach lining has protective, I can say, mucus, okay, that lines the lining of the stomach, that basically protects. Otherwise, HCl is so acidic it can digest your stomach as well. It's stronger than battery acid. So imagine if that same food is being, coming through your small intestine, stomach has the protective mucus, okay, that lines it and protects it. Small intestine will get damaged if you're not neutralizing it. Is this clear? So in order to
Yeah.
protect your small intestine, that's why you need to neutralize it. This table is very, 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 very important. Okay. Learn this by heart. Okay. They've asked in papers 5 mark, 6 marker questions, fill in the blanks. Okay, and they've asked you to name the enzymes, unconvert, and what they're acting upon, where they're coming from, what are they acting upon, where they are acting upon. Right, Claire? Now, moving on to teeth. I hope everyone's clear. Teeth, like we said, they help with ingestion and mechanical digestion. Okay, teeth are used to bite off pieces of food. They then help to chop, crush, grind them into smaller pieces. That basically increases surface area, okay, for food, and which makes it easier for your enzymes to work upon. All right, now if I show you, yes, look at this. This is one teeth, okay, one tooth, sorry, and these are the types of different types of teeth that we have. Okay, look at this. Now look at your tooth. All right. So out of the basically, if you were talking about your tooth, okay, part of the tooth above the gum is covered with enamel, as you can see here. This is an enamel. Okay, enamel is the hardest substance that is made by animals, but it can be dissolved by acids. Okay, so firstly, enamel is the hardest substance. Basically, you can say outer covering of it. Okay, so when bacteria feeds on the sweet food is left on your teeth, bacteria produces acids which dissolve the enamel. Okay, that causes tooth decay. Okay, under the layer of enamel, what do you have? You have dendine. There's an E missing. It's dendine. Okay, dendine. Okay, this is like your bone. Okay, and pretty hard, but not as hard as enamel. Okay, enamel is the strongest part. All right. Now, it basically has channels in it which contain living cytoplasm, as you can see here. All right, look at this. Okay, now in the middle of the tooth, there are nerves and blood vessels. That is why you feel pain. Okay, because you have nerve vessels, nerves and blood vessels. All right, blood vessels supply the cytoplasm in the dendron with nutrients and oxygen. Okay, now this part of the tooth that is embedded in the gum is covered by cement, or you can also call it a cementum. Basically, the name is cementum, but according to your syllabus. Okay, this has fibers growing out of it. Okay, so these attach the tooth to the bone in the jaw, but slight movement in these while biting and chewing. Okay, so after cement, and then you have nerves and blood vessels as well. Okay, ignore this. All right. Now, if I talk about the type of teeth, so mammals basically have four types of teeth. That's why we are called heterodont. Heterodont means you have different types. Okay, incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Incisors are sharpest, as you can see, chisel-shaped teeth that are at the front of the mouth. Okay, they are used for biting of pieces of food. Then you have canines. Okay, canines are the more pointed teeth. Okay, you can see they're more pointed at either side of the incisors. Premolars and molars are the large teeth towards the back of the mouth, and they're used for chewing of food. Okay, is this clear? Any questions in your teeth
Yes,
part?
what is meant by heterodont?
Heterodont means when you have different types of teeth. So we are heterodont. Okay, because we have four types of teeth. Alright.
Clear.
Okay, great. Anyone else any questions?
Miss, can you repeat the uses of the different types of teeth?
Sure, write it down. Wait. Incisor are for biting of pieces of food. Canines are also, they are for tearing off meat and all, food. Because they're more pointy, right? So they're for tearing off food. Even your lines and all have it. Premolars and molars are for chewing food. Because they are the back of the mouth. Alright. Are used for chewing food. Right. Clear, sir?
Yes, thank you, Miss.
No problem. Anyone else any questions? Yes. Anyone else? Alright, great. Okay. Note this down, then we will talk about absorption and assimilation. Done?
I'm done.
Rest of you?
Yeah.
Alright, now let's talk about absorption and assimilation. Alright, so by the time your food has passed through duodenum, majority of large molecules have been fully digested. Okay. Carbohydrates have been broken down to glucose, proteins to amino acids, and fats to fatty acid and cholesterol, like we just saw in the table. Okay, now the small soluble molecules are now able to pass through the walls of the intestine and into the blood. This process is your absorption. Right, and assimilation was absorption into individual cells. Okay. The small soluble molecules are able to pass through the walls of the small intestine and into the blood. This is absorption. Okay. Now, if I talk about villi, let me find a diagram. One second. So, your inner wall of small intestine is basically covered with tiny projections that are called villi. Okay. And your cell membrane on the surface of each villus is folded to form many microvilli. Okay, let me just show you the diagram. This is very complicated. Let's look for an easier one. Okay, this looks good. Okay. So, like I told you, the inner surface, the cell surface membrane on the surface of each villus is folded to form many microvilli as well. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, this is your villus complete, and these small projections are your microvilli. And it's these through these membranes that glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, cholesterol, vitamins, minerals, ions, and water are absorbed. Okay, so it is through these membranes. These are basically the microvilli, basically increasing the surface area for absorption. That glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, glycerol, vitamins, minerals, ions, and water are absorbed. And if you can see this lacteal inside this, lymph duct and all. Okay, this lacteal lymph vessel. So fatty acids and glycerol pass into the lacteal. The contents of the lacteal are eventually emptied into the blood. And you're going to look into detail of this in your next chapter, transport and animals. Eventually emptied into blood. Is this clear? Any questions? Anyone? Ibrahim, Umar, Debasit, Ahmed, Ayla, Saad, Zoya.
No questions.
Alright, please note this down.
Miss, is this also known as the lymph duct?
Which duct, sorry? Lymphatic duct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then what are the functions? Because in one question they asked us to say 3 functions.
Basically, it just transports, fats and glycerol away from your normal, blood system. Because, see, if fats and fatty acids, glycerol are transported through your normal blood vessels, they will get stuck in them. Because, capillaries are very narrow. There's a separate system for transporting of fats. Okay, they go and empty in your subclavian vein that is right under your collarbone. Okay, so because over there, obviously, they will directly enter the heart from that side, and because obviously it is at high pressure, so they will not get, they will not clog the small arteries and capillaries. That's why we have a separate system for transportation of fats. Okay, we're going to look into this detail in the next chapter. Okay, like I just said, in transporting animals. All right, Jess?
Okay.
Anyone else any questions? Done? Clear?
Miss, what is the purpose of the lacteal?
See, lacteal, I told you, right? They transport your fats and all. Fats and, glycerol, fatty acids. Because, in normal blood vessels, it will get stuck, like I just told Zoya. Okay.
Clear.
So they have a separate system for them. All right. Anyone else? Any questions? Are you guys done? All right. Then, if you guys are done, then tomorrow, inshallah, we are gonna start off with chapter number 9, that is transport in animals. Okay. As of now, we're done with 8 chapters. Alhamdulillah. Tomorrow we'll be beginning from chapter number 9. So that's all for today. I will be seeing you guys tomorrow, inshallah.
Allah Hafiz, Miss.
Allah Hafiz.